AE Dynasty is in the books, and as it has been the last few pay-per-views, there are those that are up in arms. And to help me dissect it all, joining me on the hotline, he is the managing editor of WrestleZone.com. It is my good friend Bill Pritchard. Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back.
Glad you're back. So let's start with kind of what we always do. Give me a letter grade for AEW Dynasty.
I'm gonna say B.
Okay.
I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than social media might tell you. I was there live, so
Okay.
the energy in the arena, even like Taz and JR getting announced, like people were just ready for a good show. There was a lot of good matches. I think they started off with a great choice in as far as the main show,
Hmm.
Osprey and Kevin Knight.
Yeah.
Uh, Anthony Bowen's got a really nice pop on the pre-show, on the 0 hour part.
He looked
Um,
fantastic, by the way. My
mhm,
God.
yeah.
He is, he was always kind of cut, but man, he looked even more ripped than before, didn't he?
Yeah, great shape. And he is going back to the five tool player gimmick. I know it's something like I've seen him at WrestlePro. I've been to like a couple of their events
Hmm.
since I live not too far away. I'm excited to see what he does. And just, I'm sure we're going to talk about the main event in a little more detail, but
Oh yeah.
it, yeah, I want Swerve to win, but like, I'm not super upset about how it went down.
I,
If
yeah,
that's a good way to look at it.
I get that. And I think it was, I mean, it felt to me like it was a little bit of copy and paste from Revolution, where you got the baby phase, they're on the verge of winning, and then ref bump, and then interference from like all these people, and then someone comes in to mess things up. Now, last time it was Christian Cage, who didn't necessarily try to mess things up for Adam Copeland, but was trying to cash in his contract. This time, it was the Young Bucks, which made no, at first didn't really make any sense because they were the ones that were afraid of the Death Riders, and that's why they left back in October. And I'm with you. I wanted Swerve to win, if for no other reason. I am so tired of this John Moxley title reign and the Death Riders. It's
Yeah.
whatever the purpose was when this whole thing started. It's not that anymore, and I don't know what it is. Um, but you look at the picture. You got All in 3 months in Arlington, and I think Tony Khan wants that moment, kind of like what Cody Rhodes had against Roman Reigns last year at WrestleMania. I think he wants something similar, and why not save it for Globe Life Field? Give me your thoughts on Moxley and the Death Riders, and give me your thoughts, the rest of your thoughts on what happened in the main event.
So I actually, like you mentioned Christian, I'll start there. I feel like it almost would have been a good thing to maybe have him cash in and like have somebody else screw him out of it that time. But I feel like if they were gonna, because he was unsuccessful, so it's like if you're gonna have him lose it once, like I almost wanted to see him like tease it a few more times before he lost it.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought like as the match on Sunday was coming to a close that something I was just like, oh, this would be a good spot for the Bucks, but I actually thought they were gonna maybe help Swerve because the numbers game, because you have the Death Riders, it was 4-on-1 at that point, and then uh I'm drawing a blank. Like Prince Nana was already out of the equation. Like I think that was after Marina hit her, and then somebody ran out, and it was 2-on-1, or I'm sorry, 4-on-2, and I was like, this feels like a good spot for like a Young Bucks return. And then I didn't think of it until the lights went out and they came on, and I even kind of was like, oh, like a little bit of like an eye roll because I'm like, well, Swerve's losing.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought at least if the Bucks are going to be responsible for that, like I guess they're going to build towards Swerve and Hangman against them. But it's like, why wait for that to be an all-in moment, and why not just do the tag match at Double or Nothing? Because I feel like if you're trying to tell a story that clearly, like, it's not us making it up, like clearly a decent amount of people are sick of it already.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're if there's a plot, it's been lost a long time ago. Moxley's promos used to talk about he wants the old AEW and trying to mold it in that image, and it feels like they're so far away from that. They gotta at least pivot somewhere. Like Double or Nothing was always like the pay-per-view of the year for AEW, and it all in, it's kind of taking that place a little bit. But like, I don't think they should forget that Double or Nothing's a very big weekend for them. So don't put everything like don't load up all in and forget about that. Like the reason a lot of people loved AEW was there was big matches on every single show, no matter what they were, and that helped them feel important. And I feel like bar borrowing from, like you said, like getting the Cody moment, I feel like the wrong way to go about things. Like, yeah, it's a great moment, and if it works, it works. But I don't think you should put things off on, especially on a storyline that people are already growing tired of.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the difference with Cody and Roman was that Roman Reigns' bloodline was still a pretty good. They still had good vibes. People weren't sick of them.
No. And you could even say you started seeing that story lose steam, and a lot of people were like, all right, Cody has to win this time. It
Yeah.
wasn't they were smart enough not to, you know, go ahead with Rock and Roman. Cody got in the match. They were like, all right, if we're gonna do it, here's the time. They listened to the fans, and it's still a year later talked about one of the all-time great moments.
Right. Right.
They listened to the audience at this time. AEW should maybe take that part of it in mind instead of letting it play out for another 3 months. We might even be sick of it by Double or Nothing.
I, I was sick of it at World's End. I mean,
Mhm.
like you said, Moxley's promos. God rest his soul. It started. They were sounding a little bit like early Bray Wyatt, where it was just gibberish, just speaking about nothing. This whole thing about wanting to reshape AEW. I'm going, and that got muddy. It was like, what are you
Mhm.
talking about now? You want to go back? You want to go forward? You want to get them tough? What? What?
Mhm.
The Bucks thing. I saw somewhere, and I can't recall where. I saw somewhere that described the Bucks as cold right now. And you have them come back. You have them come back in the heel, the EVP heel thing to cause swerve. Okay, so yeah, so you're going to work to Swerve and Hangman against the Bucks.
Mhm.
Who was clamoring for that match? I wasn't.
Good point.
I mean, it felt like putting the Bucks in just to put the Bucks in.
Or just to find a way to get Hangman and Swerve to work together when you have that great moment last week where he's like, "Yeah, you burned down my house. It's your fault. I
Yeah,
know." Like
yeah,
that was the bond. Like that's where it started, and you could have let that simmer.
yes,
You don't have to team them up right away, and I'm sure we're gonna see some follow up tomorrow night, and they're gonna maybe not fast track it, but I feel like you could have still had tension where all they've been through, they're not going to be best friends right away.
No, no.
So, I mean, Hangman doesn't really have an issue with the Bucks as far as what they did to Swerve. He was trying to help.
Yeah.
So, and I just I'll still wait and see what happens tomorrow, but like I think a lot of people, like the majority, agree. I don't know where this is going anymore, so it's like
Yeah. It's time to take it off. And now as far as Bucks versus Hangman Swerve, I say that is double or nothing because you don't have another pay per view between there and All In, and I don't think that match is nearly big enough for Globe Life. So let's do that at double or nothing. I guess they can work to that, and like you said, let the I guess it's going to simmer a little faster, but the this strange whatever between Hangman and Swerve. Let's talk about the rest of the card. Kenny Omega retained the international title in a fantastic triple threat with him, Ricochet, and Speedball Mike Bailey. That was, I would say, it was either that or Will Ospreay Kevin Knight as match of the night. What did you think?
I definitely put those two up there. I was excited for just Speedball's pay-per-view debut. I talked to him last week, and I always like talking to him. Like he's such a nice guy, but like there's definitely a difference in his presentation between TNA and AEW, and that's no fault of TNA. It's just it feels like he he's the type of wrestler that like we fell in love with AEW because of. Like he works well with Kenny Omega. Uh, all, I don't think I've ever really seen a bad Kenny match except for like the exploding barbed wire death, whatever the hell it was
Yeah,
called.
yeah,
And that's really not his fault. That was a technical thing, but those two in the ring, and then Ricochet's doing like some all-time career best work. I think making him a heel and giving him like a direction like this. He's not, I said it to somebody the other night, like he's not just the good guy, flippy guy. Like they're actually giving him some depth. It's paying off. People are responding. Uh, I would not have been surprised if he won. It almost felt like that in some ways the other night, but like we saw, Kenny and Okada had the face off. It seems like short of having them point at the All In sign, like stealing from WrestleMania, like it
hmm
feels like that's going to be another big match at All In. So maybe even more to your point, like if they already have the world title match and they already have Omega and Okada at All In, do they really need Swerve and Hangman against the Young Bucks there?
yeah. No,
It feels like, you know,
it's and I mean, do you believe the rumor innuendo that it'll be to consolidate the international in continental titles?
I hope so. I have said they have too many titles the way it is last year. Like there's they can say like, oh, we have 4 hours of TV and a pay-per-view, but like you need to you need to like give a little bit more attention. Or at the very least, like get the Ring of Honor title off of AEW. And that's been a complaint that I've had no matter who's been the champion. It's nothing against Jericho. I still like his work. But when you're, when you're fighting for TV time, as far as like being a secondary or tertiary champion against a what's considered a world title, like the main title for Ring of Honor, like you really need to scale back. And I feel like Tony won't do it or is hesitant because he doesn't want to admit like something didn't work out as far as that. But I think you need to give it a strong consideration because the international championship works. I don't. I don't really know that you need a title that's only defended like once a year. So,
Agreed. Um, and
or
you
make it
mentioned
like a trophy or a ring or
right.
something, you know,
Well,
like
it could be
the dynamite diamond, make it something like that.
it could be do just like the G1 Climax, do a trophy,
Mhm.
give the winner a title shot at I don't know World's End or whatever. Something like that. You mentioned about like the TV time, the pay per views.
Mhm.
This pay per view was long. I mean, you're talking about, and you were there, so you're talking
Mhm.
about you know basically from 7 p.m. Eastern until past midnight, if you count the pre-show.
Mhm.
I mean, and there were, while the matches were good, there's probably at least two or three of those matches that would have been better on Dynamite or Collision. What
Mhm.
did you think?
Uh, I can name, and I enjoyed them too, but like Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe, that could have been a TV match just because I would want to see all of the Owen matches on TV except for maybe the finals. I just think it adds to the prestige. And Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia, like it's the TNT Championship,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I'm getting like I'm being a little picky, but have it only be defended on TNT. Like if you're giving that title that name, like put it on TV. Like make
Agreed.
it their television championship. It's not called that, but I think most people when they hear TNT title or TBS title kind of expect it to be defended there. And then I'm trying to think. I mean, I feel like maybe the trios match that was the 0 hour match. Uh,
That
even though like people really like seeing Action Andretti and Leo Rush, like that maybe could have been bumped to somewhere else. But I agree that 12 matches in a night, especially when you're going past midnight on the East Coast,
mm-hmm.
it's a little long. Like
It is a little long.
with the press conference, I got home at like 2:30,
Oh my God.
and I don't live very far away from
Well,
an
and
arena.
that's the thing, and they've shortened the press conferences a little bit, but
Mhm.
still, that is a late night for sure. Let's talk rated FTR blowing up. Death Riders retain the trios titles, and then FTR turns on Adam Copeland. You get the Shatter Machine, you get the Spike Pile Driver, two concertos. Adam Copeland apparently now written off TV for a while. FTR, I guess, are going to be heels for a while. Um, just give me your reaction and what you see from FTR going forward.
I think we all expected this to happen. I think the way it happened was a lot better than I expected. And it's nice to see FTR have a bit of a mean streak again
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think we've seen them play the heels for a while, and I don't know how big of an audience is saying this, but like I'm sure you've seen people criticize Dax for like, oh yeah, we're gonna get another FTR rah rah babyface promo and like taking a dig at him, which I don't think is fair. That was his character, but it's still being said, so like there is some room to turn them. I think this sets up Edge and Christian against FTR. Again, how do you get there considering Christian was like one of their best heels last year? But I think they'll figure it out. And then again, it kind of makes me think like, is that going to be an all-in match? Is that going to be double or nothing? Is that going to overshadow Swerve and Hangman, this odd couple pairing, even though Edge and Christian, or I'm sorry, Cope and Christian, even though they have years of history together, there's still going to be this tension. So like, are you running the risk of doing two storylines that are very similar at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Not to
If
mention, well, and not to, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Not to mention, you turn FTR heel. If you're going to bring the Bucks back, why not bring them back as baby faces? Because I think the EVP heel run, I think it got stale.
Mhm. Yeah, and I I know people are invested in Swerve and Hangman, and I think there's still going to be an audience, but I think when you put them next to each other, especially against like Cope and Christian, I think you're going to see them criticized just because of how similar they are. So they really need to be careful how they do this. And I think, like I said, I for some reason I felt I was like, oh, this would be a good spot for the Bucks to kind of run out for Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going to have to explain why they were afraid of Moxley, why they're helping him. And I guess hopefully they explain everything and try to just move past the obvious conflicts tomorrow. But I'm with you. It's like there's a lot going on when the most straightforward answer would have been something else,
Yeah,
whether it's ending the Death Rider's reign or making the Bucks babyface.
yeah, yeah. I will be interested to see what they say on Dynamite. I won't buy it, but I'll be interested in seeing it. Let's see. What else? Tony Storm escapes with a surprise roll up on Megan Bain.
Mhm.
Was that the right finish for that match?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Tony's won by roll up a few times. It kind of shows that A, it's an old school move, like a roll up. It's not like a flashy finisher. I think it fits her character. And B, it kind of makes her a little bit, if you want to look at it from a literal sense, like she was dressed like Rocky. It kind of makes her more like the underdog in that sense. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Um, we mentioned Bandito winning the Ring of Honor World Title from Chris Jericho, which I'm happy that Bandito won.
Mhm.
The finish was a bit odd because you had Chris Jericho use Floyd the Bat. When the ref's back was turned, he pins Bandito, so they count 1, 2, 3. It looks like Jericho has won. Bandito's going to lose the mask, and then Bandito's family, of all people, point out to Aubrey Edwards, "Oh, there was a bat," and they find it and they end up restarting the match, and then Bandito wins. Why not just let Bandito win the match in the first place? Don't deal with the. Let's not deal with the. I think you would agree there are times when Tony Khan overbooks things way too much, and this was a prime example.
So I don't, did you see the post show?
I did not.
No. Okay. So I talked on the pre-show call on Thursday, and I was like, I asked Tony, I was like, Jericho Bandito's not on the card yet. Like, what's
Yeah, I
going on? And he
recall
said,
that. I recall that. Yeah.
so he said, he has good reasons and he's putting performer's best interest in mind. And, speculation started from there. I myself was like, oh, is Bandito injured? He told me Sunday, I followed up. I was like, because he also kind of made it sound like we'd maybe get the announcement on Collision, or I thought maybe there's like a segment on Ring of Honor that night, and they ended up just putting it on social media. So I'm like what happened? Like just something seemed off. And he said they wanted to make sure that Bandito's family was able to be at the event, which fine. Like you definitely want to make sure they're there, but more to your point, did they really need to be involved in the result of the match? Because it's like you don't do that all the time. Like how many times do you have fans and family like sitting around ringside and they're like pointing out, oh, the heel cheated, the babyface, like they got screwed over, and it's like the ref doesn't listen. So now you're gonna have them listen. Is like, are you gonna go back to that so it makes sense continuity wise, or was it just this one thing? I'm totally fine with the dusty finish because I sat there and I'm like, I'm thinking like, oh, Jericho's redoing the WCW storyline where he was like the guy that takes all the masks. I'm thinking like along those lines and nostalgia. I'm like, okay, I'm fine with it. But then they restarted and I'm like, all right, this is maybe taking too long, or why is Aubrey listening when she's not the legal ref? Stuff like, I'm just like, if I'm overthinking it to that point, it's like, is it really worth it? You could have, like you said, you could have got the feel good moment of just having his family in the crowd or celebrating, bring him into the ring after the title win. I don't know who came up with the finish. I don't know why they needed to do it, but I guess we're going to see Jericho back on, or back on. I guess we're going to see him competing more for AEW, less for the Ring of Honor title. And I love Bandito's work. I got a chance to like really, really watch him Sinclair's Ring of Honor. So I really hope that they give him a little bit of a push on both shows because he's really talented.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's switch gears. Let's talk a little WWE. SmackDown Friday. Kevin Owens comes out, and we already had an announcement, and sure enough, the announcement he has to have neck surgery. He's out of WrestleMania. The match with Randy Orton is off. Which of course Randy Orton
Mhm.
reacted with the RKO to Nick Aldis. Um, First of all, I mean, this sucks for Kevin. I mean, he's been one of the MVPs of WWE over the last year or two, especially. Um, so all this to say, does Randy Orton find a way back to WrestleMania, and with who?
I hope so. And I'm not sure who. I I almost feel like putting him against, you know, maybe like a squash match. Like I normally would have said like Chad Gable would have been a good choice of like maybe like a showcase match, but obviously he's working with Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've heard Sami Zayn's name be kicked around, but I feel like there there's a lot of kind of like backtracking and retconning you would have to do to make him want to stick up for Kevin Owens, especially after the match they had at a Elimination Chamber this year. So I don't know. I hope they find somewhere to put him because
So then
Randy's a huge name.
he is.
People probably were going to WrestleMania if you want to look at it like that. Like a lot of fans were probably going to see him too. So uh,
I
I'm
know.
not
I
sure.
mean, the vignettes say otherwise, but what if they decide to bring Aleister Black out a week early? Make it like a surprise opponent. So Randy does get a match. Nick Aldis tells it's a surprise opponent. So Randy can't prepare, and then WrestleMania comes, and here comes Aleister Black.
I mean, that would be good. It's just, I think if as long as it remains like a surprise, like I think Black has to win because he's returning. You want to make him look good.
Yeah, that,
I
that that's kind of the problem. That's the one problem I have with it. I think whatever if Randy gets a match, Randy's got to go over. So who do you put him against? And like you said, I mean, do you
you you could have put him like maybe make the Intercontinental title a five-way match, or I would have said like Logan Paul would have been a good one where maybe the result doesn't matter as much as the spectacle behind it. Uh, I keep thinking of people that are like already booked. It's a really tough situation.
It is. It really is. Um, we also now know the favor that Paul Heyman owed CM Punk. CM Punk told him he wants the wise man in his corner instead of Roman Reigns. So you'll be Paul Heyman in CM Punk's corner for the triple threat with him, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. We saw Paul Heyman's explanation on Monday Night Raw. He's loyal to the tribal chief. He's loyal to CM Punk, his best friend. So it sounds like he's not going to be disloyal to either one. And then the whole thing with Seth Rollins and almost stopping him and all that. What should we expect out of Paul Heyman in Punk's corner?
I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as he's my best friend. I'm the original Paul Heyman guy, and I, I think there's going to be some kind of collusion. And I mean, a bunch of people said after last night, like, what if Rollins is involved? Like, yeah, that adds a lot of intrigue. Like having Heyman owe him a favor, even though it's a situation like Heyman recruited Punk, like Heyman is acting on that.
Mm-hmm.
Rollins created this situation last night himself. Almost I wouldn't say a favor, it's almost like a mercy. So I don't think it's going to be very straightforward. Like he's not just going to sit there and CM Punk is going to win and Heyman doesn't interfere. Like I think he's going to be involved in the finish. I just who they put him with.
Yeah.
That's a curious question.
It is. It is. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. And you're right. I think Paul Heyman will get involved somewhere. We don't know with who, against who, but I think that's going to be the fun of watching that match. So, all right, let's talk the Charlotte Flair Tiffany Stratton promo. I mean, it got uncomfortable to watch because I mean, it looked from the get go first that Charlotte got rattled by the booze, which, and I'll be honest, since she came back, at Elimination Chamber, she seems to get rattled with the booze. I don't know if she was expecting something and it's not happening, but she does not look like the usual confident Charlotte Flair. And then this whole Charlotte, what was it? Charlotte made fun of Tiffany's voice, and then Tiffany barked back about the divorces, and Charlotte barked back about Kaiser and in her DMs, and they've edited out all this stuff out of the edition that ended up on YouTube and other digital platforms. I'll be honest, after that promo, it made me want to see that match less. I almost couldn't care less about the match. Give me your thoughts.
I'm kind of with you there. Like Charlotte definitely looked rattled where normally like Austin probably would have started a what chant when he was first doing that or a little like she's how many years has she been there? Like
Yeah.
right? Like that's something that shouldn't bother her at that point, or she should have at least spoken over them just to kind of reassume command of the situation. But if they went off script, like yeah, deal with that backstage, but the end of it was good. Like they were actually finally taking shots at each other, whether they were cleared or not. Like, yeah, you have. I'm not a performer. Like, I'm not the one working there. So, like, yeah, I was entertained by the end of it, but I shouldn't be thinking about, well, she took a pot shot and oh, that's not really supposed to happen. And
Right. But it like I said, it just felt it stopped being a promo and felt a little like, okay, I don't know if we're supposed to be watching this.
yeah.
They seem to really be going at each other. And it just,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm like I said, it made me I'm not looking forward to that match.
I wasn't very excited for it to begin with, and it's nothing against the two of them. It's just I liked like I enjoy the Raw Women's title picture. a lot more
Hmm.
right now, and I feel like there was a definitely a better way you could have went about if you want Charlotte versus Tiffany. Like I feel like just Charlotte coming back and yeah, I know, like she's the queen, that's her role. She's decorated winner. Like there's a way that you can talk down to the new girl without it seeming like you're ripping on her because then if you lose, well, you lost to somebody that's not as good as you.
Hmm.
And I always say I like my wrestling with parity, kind of like the NFL. Any team can win on any given Sunday. Same thing should be here. Like you should find a way to talk down to them, but without making it sound condescending. And I feel like this kind of, even though the end of it was exciting and like to an extent, it was like entertaining because it's like car crash, like where's this going?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What's the overall picture here?
Does Let me ask you, you know, is is it I guess I'd say it felt like when they first booked that match, it felt like okay, they're going to have Charlotte win, and she'll win the title, and she'll be world title number I think 15.
Mhm.
Is that still the feeling right now, or could a case be made Tiffany retains?
I don't think it would be a bad call to put her over. I think, you know, especially as a Money in the Bank cash in winner, like you don't want to make her seem like a fluke. You already have this part where, we're talking about like Charlotte being condescending and you don't want to kind of halt her push. So yeah, it'd be really good if she beats Charlotte. Maybe they have like Charlotte puts her over at the end of it, like a sign of respect. I think it'd be a good idea to have Tiffany win and retain, especially if the Raw title changes hands. You want some consistency. Maybe you could have Bailey challenge Tiffany. Like there's a lot of, and especially if they do like the shakeup or what are the soccer terms they put on it?
Transfer window.
Yeah, if they
Yeah,
still have the if they still
they
have
could.
the transfer window, you could always move some people around.
I'm still
I
learning soccer, so
So am I.
forgive me. I mean, and I've been covering Austin FC for this is my fourth year doing it, but
I I was okay with like calling it just the WWE draft. So adding a
yeah,
term like transfer window this late, but I don't really know where you like what do you do after Charlotte wins the title? It's like you said, what is this, 14 or 15?
mm-hmm.
Like we're gonna see the same program again. Like she would benefit from a really good personal feud without a title involved.
Yeah, I agree. And was it just me, or was she getting Dominic Mysterio boos? I mean, it felt like they were booing her out of the building.
To the point where it caught her off guard, I think four times. I know for sure three where she stopped and she was gonna talk, and then it just gets louder. So
It was nuts. Uh, you mentioned the women's world title on Raw. Rhea Ripley has now been added to the match, so it is now a triple threat at WrestleMania. Io Sky defending against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. This one, and you heard Michael Cole and Pat McAfee talking about how Io Sky is, it feels like the afterthought. The real attraction is Rhea and Bianca. For that reason, they keep the title on Io.
I I don't know if they do, but I agree that she feels like an afterthought. I think mostly because I think people were expecting just Bianca versus Rhea straight up. Io winning kind of complicates things. Now it's a triple threat. It excuse me.
No
And
problem.
I think it was at WrestleMania last year. I asked her the same thing. I spoke with Io at Media Day, and I was just kind of like, going into this match, it feels like everybody's like already crowning Bailey champion. Like this is her moment. There are, and it ended up happening. Like it is what it is. But how do you feel kind of being like second thought, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of feels like it's repeating again. Like people are just expecting this to be like another moment for Rhea or maybe Bianca. Maybe it sets up the singles match. It's like, if this is going to be a triple threat, they should all be equal parts of it, and it shouldn't be the champion of all people. Like champions obviously have the odds against them. They shouldn't be an afterthought in the match too.
Yeah.
So I hope they do something, and they only have a week left, but I hope they do something to make her a little bit more of a formidable opponent.
Right. By the way, and I made this joke on another show where if WrestleMania, I think we got what, 9 matches or 10 matches so far.
11, I
I think
think.
4 of them are multi-person matches.
Mhm.
Is it Triple H booking this, or is it Gato? Because it feels a little like Wrestle Kingdom rather than WrestleMania.
Mhm. Um, with I hope they do a couple more matches. Like I know they've been kind of doing like 5 or 6 every night. WrestleMania, I feel like could be 7 each night
Mm-hmm.
just because it's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's the Intercontinental title match, the Women's World title match, and then
The three
Liv,
way Punk, Roman, and Seth.
yeah, and then you have the Women's Tag Team Championship with Liv and Raquel. Like they're gonna face the winner of a gauntlet match. So I'm pretty much assuming that the teams that lose the gauntlet, maybe one of them runs out and interferes. So they're not in the match, but I don't see that one going down like just a straight up winner.
Yeah.
It's the format that they kind of created themselves. So it's like
Yeah.
you need to make room for all of these people that are deserving. At what point do you stop it? I think 7 and 7 is like a good number. It's not, if we're bringing things around full circle, it's not like AEW 12 matches in a night. So
Yeah.
I
Right.
think you just have to be mindful of how you use them, and at least it's not just a thrown together battle royal. Like,
Yeah. Um, Jey Uso coming out confronting Gunther after Gunther beats up Jimmy, and there was no yeeting. It was super serious. Talk about, you talk to your family, I talk to my family. I'm gonna say a prayer for what I'm gonna have to do to you. Did you like that presentation? And I've heard some people say that saved the match. Give me your thoughts.
I don't know about saved because part of me thinks this was the wrong match for the to be the first official one because there's so much time in between when they booked it and WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely creates more interest, definitely makes Jay more of a threat. I think if I had to guess, that's maybe the guaranteed title switch as far as like world titles, women's and men's. I think I would bet Jay's gonna win, but it definitely creates more intrigue,
Okay. All
which
right.
I'm okay with. I want to watch. I
So
want to
it
be
sounds,
interested in those.
yeah, I am too. I agree. Duh, so am I correct in assuming you think Cody's going to beat John Cena?
I don't I'm not sure. I just think if I look at the 4 men's and women's world title matches,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm most certain that Jay would win.
Yeah.
I still think like I have a good feeling Cody might win just because, and this is like maybe too inside the weeds, but like I feel like maybe Cena's 17th title win is meant to be a babyface victory, but
Yeah.
then again, we I don't think ever expected him to actually turn heel, so maybe the money is in having him win and then build him up and have a new babyface beat him. And then you have Cody chasing and another babyface. Like there's a few different ways you can go,
Yeah.
I think, with that one.
Okay. Well, it will all be intriguing in about a week and a half in Las Vegas. So we shall see. He is Bill Pritchard, the managing editor for WrestleZone.com. Catch everything they do. It's a fantastic site. I check it daily, and I learn a lot from it. Bill, I appreciate your time, man. All the best to you. Are you making the trip to Las Vegas?
Yep, I'll be headed out Wednesday.
Okay. Well, safe travels. Hope you have a great time, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, sounds good. Look forward to it.